Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, in the last class, we have covered another three software development lifecycle model, which are suppose V model, then Agile, and Iterative. I think. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So till now we have covered then waterfall model, then red model, then spiral model, then V model, then I think incremental model, agile model, or an iterative model. Someone please confirm.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then two models are still left. One is called Bing Bang model and prototype model. Now, out of these two model, this prototype model is very popular. The prototype model is very popular. Okay, so let's discuss with prototype model. Uh, can anyone tell me what is a prototype? Because the entire model is based on this term called prototype. The rest is almost same with the other model. That means in each and every model you have to follow the same steps. You have to do the analysis. You have to do the you have to prepare the SRS document. Then you have to go through the design phase. Then they prepare a design specific document. Then you have to go through the coding phase. Then you have to go through the testing phase. After that you have to do the integration and implementation phase. Then you have to continue your maintenance phase until the software becomes outdated or expired. It means whatever the model you have chosen for any kind of development, these phases you have to go through, whether it is a waterfall model, whether it is a V model, whether it is an incremental model. The only differences is that how you pursue your these phases in which manner. In some models, one phase must be complete, then only we go for the next phase. In some phase, in some models, what they do, they divided the whole entire development into small sections and perform the entire execution of the phases for each and every model. Okay, so these are some changes. There are some modification in each and every model. Then why we need the modification? Because the requirement are different in different type of software. We are not dealing with a single type of software, or we are not dealing with a one or two types of software. We have to deal with a different kind of software for different purpose. So that means for developing a different kind of software, we need a different approaches. Okay? So for suppose an example, if you want to travel from Guwahati to Kolkata, there are so many ways. There are so many ways. You can go by bus, go by train, you can go for the air. But in every type of traveling, you have to choose. And for choosing this, you have to depend on some criteria. You don't have that much of money to buy a ticket, air ticket. So you have to go for suppose either train or bus. In train also different sections. You don't have that much of time. You have to reach as early as possible. Then obviously you have to choose air. So that means the requirement, based on the requirements, we have to choose the way how we are going to travel from Guwahati to Kolkata. So similarly, what type of software we are going to build or design, or what are the requirements of the client, whether they need the entire software after completion, after completing the entire project, or they need some sections, some portion of the software early. So based on this, we have to adopt a different kind of models. Okay. The next model is suppose prototype model. So can anyone tell me what is a prototype? Saidur, can you tell me what is a prototype? In simple words, what you have understood by prototype? I think you have, all of you have heard about the term called prototype. In everywhere, prototype, prototype.
Sir.
Sir, any beta version
Yes.
of a big version.
Saidur, your voice is not coming. Nikhil,
Yes, sir. Sir, prototype means sample.
sample. Tridip, what do you think about prototype?
Sir, prototype means earliest sample of a product or software.
Okay. Saidur, we cannot say it is a beta version of a software. Beta version is something before finalize the product, they simply release a version of that software for feedback, whether you have get all the requirements in the software or not. It is called beta version. Sanglim, what is your point of view on prototype?
I think something that is in the testing stage.
Not testing stage actually. Chandrasekhar, चंद्रशेखर यादव, तुम अपने क्लास में ज्वाइन नहीं करते, तुम सीनियर के क्लास में ज्वाइन कर लेते हो, व्हाई? You did not get the routine. Yadav, are you there? Unmute yourself and answer my question. What is a prototype?
What, sir? Hello, sir.
What
Hello?
is a prototype?
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. What is a prototype?
Hello?
Yes. Okay. So basically, what is a prototype? Prototype is
Hello,
nothing
sir.
but a yes,
Hello, sir.
yes, yes.
Mm,
I'm listening.
बताइए सर.
प्रोटोटाइप क्या है, तुम बोल पाओगे?
Sir, it is I think first for preliminary version of device, I think device or vehicle from which
Okay.
other forms are developed.
ओके,
Hello?
तुम अपना टाइम टेबल अच्छे से देख लेना, ठीक है? तो दूसरों के क्लास में
Okay.
ज्वाइन मत करना।
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
तो 8 सेम का कोर्स तुम क्लास अटेंड करके कोई फायदा नहीं है अभी, वैसे भी
जी
तुम
सर
लोग
जी.
का कोर्स खत्म हो गया है। Okay, timetable, according to your timetable, you join the class.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so basically, what is a prototype? The prototype is nothing but a sample of the actual software. Okay, that means suppose we have to develop a software, big software. It will require a huge amount of resources. Resources means maybe a technical, financial, time, anything. And on the other hand, the requirements, what the software needs to do, the requirements are not also not very clear, or maybe the client want to make sure that whatever requirements he is explaining in front of the development team, whether he is able to explain it properly, he needs to verify. Okay, in these circumstances, what they do before involved in the actual development, they simply design a prototype where it includes the basic functionalities of the actual software, raw version of. That means once you convince with a raw version, then you involve in the actual development. For example, suppose in medical uh, in medicine especially, you have a sample medicine. Have you got any kind of sample medicine from anyone? So what they do, they simply develop some medicines before releasing or for testing whether these medicines are work properly or not. If they work properly, that means the configuration what they have embedded in this pill or injection, whatever it is okay with the treatment. Once they convince, then they go for the actual production. This is called prototype. Okay? That means in very first they collect the requirements, they try to build a prototype, a sample, and share with the client and take the feedback whether whatever you have expecting from the software, whether this sample are able to meet your expectation or not, or do we need to make any changes on it. So this type of feedbacks are taking from the client side. So after that, based on the initial requirements and the feedback, they involved in the uh, actual requirements. Okay? So this is called prototype. So basically, in prototype, suppose there are some steps you have to follow. That is, suppose in first step you have to go through the requirement analysis phase. Then after that, you have to take a quick decision and build a prototype. That means take the major requirements and build a prototype. Then share with the client for feedback. So once you get the feedback, you involved the analysis part, then finalize the requirement again, go for the designing phase, go for the testing phase, go for the implementation phase, and finally you have to do the maintenance. That means, see, in every life cycle, you have to go through the same phases, but the way you are processing the phases is something different. Maybe in some module you have to do the implementation before testing, maybe in some special cases, but normally you follow the same hierarchy in the entire software development lifecycle model. So similarly, when to use this type of when to use this type of development model? Obviously, first of all, when the requirement is not clear, or the client wants to verify the requirement, whether the organization are able to meet the requirement or not. Okay. Similarly, when the software, the size of the product is big, okay? When the size of the product is big,
Hello, sir.
yes.
Sir, network drop হৈ গৈছিলে.
মোৰ ভইচটো শুনা নাছিলা নেকি?
নহয় শুনি পাইছিলো, মোৰ নেটৱৰ্ক ড্ৰপ হৈ গ'ল ঘপকে। সিম কাৰ্ড নো সিম কাৰ্ড দেখাই দিলে।
ঠিক আছে দিয়া, হ'ব বাৰু। That means the next point is advantages of prototype model. That means obviously, like the other models, these models also have some advantages and disadvantages. And what are the advantages then? It reduces the risk of incorrect user requirements. Obviously, it will reduce the risk of incorrect user requirements, because before involved in the actual development, you interact with the client with a sample one. And in that sample itself, the user can do the modification, and user can do the correction if some requirements are wrongly interpreted. Okay. The next advantage is when the requirements are changing or uncommitted. That means, as I mentioned, that when the requirements are not fixed, that means currently I am mentioning the these requirements, but maybe the requirements may be changed. So before finalize the product, it's better to finalize the requirements. For this prototype will help the client to finalize the requirements when the client is not sure about the requirement. It is very helpful. This process is very helpful for the project management. Helpful for the project management. How it is helpful? Because when you develop the prototype, you will get the idea. That means how much time it will take, or what are the requirements we need for the actual development. So accordingly, you can plan. The next is that this model supports the early product marketing. That means once you develop the prototype and you are the client is satisfied with the product, and you are confident that okay, this product will work. That means from that phase only, because you have the confidence that yes, we have developed the prototype, now we can easily develop the actual product, because we know that we get the idea of the product, we get the requirement. Okay, means you have the confidence, and from that point itself you can do the marketing. Okay, it will reduce the maintenance cost, because once you develop the prototype, you will get the idea, and from that you can reduce the maintenance cost, that if we go for this way, maybe it will increase the maintenance. Can we adopt another way? So this kind of changes you can make in the software, and it will help you to reduce the maintenance cost. This model helps you to detect the errors in early stage of the development. It does not mean that when you involve in the actual development, there will be no error, everything will be gone fine. It is not like that. In the later also, there are some errors may be occurs, but with the help of this prototype, you can easily find out the major errors, or if there are any major changes need to happen, and initially you can detect this one. These are some advantages of this model. So obviously there are some disadvantages. The first disadvantage is that suppose you developed a prototype and the client is also satisfied and you are very much confident, and without analyzing the requirement again, or without analyzing the feedback in a proper way, you simply focuses on the prototype only, and based on this completely based on this prototype you involve in the actual development. Then sometimes the final product is not up to that level or up to the user requirements, because in prototype you have not add all its features. You have added the major features, and if you simply emphasis on the prototype only, then maybe some point may be ignored, so which results a bad implementation. So this is one of the disadvantages, and you have to take care. Although you have developed a prototype, it is not final one, it is a simple prototype. Don't go for the prototype blindly. You have to do everything. You simply develop the prototype to make sure that you can do it, or user needs to convince the user that yes, we can develop your product, or to verify whether the approaches are okay or not. But this prototype does not reflect the actual product, because you have not added all the features in the prototype. If you added all the features in the prototype, then it will become the final product, and it will take the as much as time as it requires to complete the product. Okay. The next point is it requires a continuous customer collaboration, continuous customer feedback. The next disadvantage is the cost is comparatively high. Obviously, the cost will increase because initially it develop a prototype. While developing it, you have to invest your resources. It will cost separately. Then after getting that feedback, you involve in the analysis again. Then you go for the actual development. That means the cost will be high. The next disadvantage is that in this, if you adopt this prototype model and you are not able to planning it properly, you are not able to complete the prototype development within a specific time, and then if the customer is not giving the feedback in the appropriate time, then it will be difficult to know how long the project will require to complete, because the timeline of this development is also depend on the time required by the customer to give the feedback. If the customer is not properly involved in this model, in the process of development, he or she is not giving response in time, then it will increase the timeline of the project. So sometimes for developing a prototype, special tools and techniques are required. That means you want to complete the entire project or sample of your entire product within a specific time. Obviously, it will require a special tools or techniques which will cost, which will create additional cost or additional time. And finally, it is a time consuming process. Obviously, it will consume more time as compared to the other processes. Okay? That means for each and every model, if you go through it, for each and every model, you will find some advantages and disadvantages. Okay? It's not like that this model is best among all, or this model is worst, or there is no use of this model. Every model has their own existence in the field of software development, because we have a different types of development, we have different types of requirements. For some requirements, apart from these disadvantages, for some requirements, these prototype models will is considered as a best one. For some requirements, the agile model is considered, apart from its disadvantages, the agile model is considered as a best one. But the same agile model is not best for another type of software, because the way it works is something different. It will not going to match with each and every development. So that's why we have a list of models for each and every circumstances. Okay, is it clear? Is this model is clear? Can we move to the next model?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next and the final model is the Big Bang model. Am I audible? My net got disconnected. Am I audible to everyone? Okay. The last model of the software development life
Yes, sir.
cycle, software development life cycle is the Big Bang model. So that means in everywhere, in every development or in every field. Okay. So there is a particular point when all the theory, all the concept are not going to match. Suppose while you are preparing for an exam, final exam. So normally what you do? Suppose you follow the syllabus, you follow the previous year questions, you follow some questions from internet, you follow some particular procedure for preparing the exam. And at some point, what they do? Forget about everything. Forget about everything. Let's focus on the point which I found easier, so that I can make that sure that if any questions come from this portion, I will definitely able to answer it. First of all, apart from the syllabus, apart from the previous year questions, first of all, go through the topics, suppose, which I found easy, and make sure that I do not miss any question if questions comes from this particular sections. Then go for the next. The Big Bang model is something like that, because till now whatever model we have discussed, in every model what we found that in everywhere it follow a specific path or specific processes. Either complete one phase, then move to the next one, or go through each and every phases in a portion wise, whatever the process is, but there is a specific process. But in this model, what they do, they are not follow a specific process. It also doesn't mean that they are not going to develop the software in a proper way. But the way this model works is something different. Okay. So what happened in this model? What they do? Okay. So in this model, what happened? Unlike the other models, if we adopt this model, we are not waiting for the entire set of requirements or entire fund for the development. Whatever informations we have, based on these informations, we start the development. That means in this model, the developers do not follow any specific process. That means obviously they have to do the analysis, they have to do the designing, they have to do the coding, because without these phases we cannot complete a project. But here it mentions that it's not follow a specific that you have to do that designing fast for the entire. Do the designing for whatever requirements you have right now. Don't wait for the entire things to come. That means the development begins with the necessary funds and efforts in the form of input. That means whatever we have, let's begin with this. Suppose I'm planning to start a business, and for this business I need suppose 1 crore rupees. अभी तो मेरे पास नहीं है इतना पैसा. But should I wait till the point when I am able to collect the 1 crore? Because I'm planning to start a well-furnished business. For this, we have to apply loan or something like that. Will I wait for the end or wait for the point when I get the 1 crore and start the business? Because for starting a business, it will require different kind of requirements. So should I start a business with the amount of money I have currently? Because एक दिन में तो पूरा का पूरा business setup नहीं हो जाएगा. We need different elements for that. For this, should I start from right now and continuously try to collect the rest of the money? So concept is something like that. Okay. So this model is something like that, that whatever requirements you have, so accordingly, requirements and funds you have, so accordingly you start the development. And after that, side by side, you do the rest. So that means you start the development and simultaneously consult with the customer and try to develop as per the customer requirements. So basically, this Big Bang model is very much useful, or all the students, they have always applied this model only when they go for the academic project, because 99% students simply go for the developing first. No one is going to plan or going to do anything kind of feasibility study or something like that. So basically, this is a model where no need to do a high level planning. Whatever the knowledge you have, whatever the requirements you have, whatever the technology you have, you can start the project. And normally in academics projects, students are follow this model. So that's why this model, when to use this model, so when the project is very small, like academic project or practical project is very small, because when you develop an academic project, you simply present whatever you have done. It is not like that. If the reviewer is not satisfied with the product, you have to develop it again. Maybe you get less marks, but you will done whatever you have to assigned. जो तुमको दिया गया था वो तुमने कर दिया. Irrespective of whatever requirements is assigned to you through the project, whether you have able to meet it or not, it does not matter. You have done your projects. These are the functions you have. These projects are able to perform, and the rest is future work. So in this type of situation, you simply follow a Big Bang model, because you don't have that much of time also in academic projects. You will not get any that much of time for research or something like that. You have to complete the entire project within a very short period of time. In this situation, this model is useful, or you can go for. But that means normally this model is not adopted by any actual development. Okay, but in some cases they can go for it, but normally this model is not that much useful in the actual development. What are the advantages? As I mentioned, there's no planning is required, no high level planning is required, few resources are required. You need some PHP MyAdmin and a web-based platform. You can develop the. You need a C or Python-based software to develop the project, easy to manage and flexible for developers. Because the size of the code or type of the resources are very simple, then you can manage from everywhere, every PC, from your old laptop also you can manage this type of resources. That's why these are the advantages. And disadvantages is first of all, not acceptable for a large project. Not acceptable for a large project. Obviously, the model is not suitable for large project. Then there's a high risk and uncertainty. Obviously, it will occur because if there is no planning, there is no possibilities of getting a high-end software. Okay, and if the requirements are not clear, then it may cause the development may cause very expensive. Okay, sometimes this is also happened in some cases. Okay, these are some disadvantages of this particular big bang model. Okay, so this is all about the software development lifecycle models. The basic of this topic, the software development, is that make you understand what is the actual software development. Software development is not only writing the codes. It involves planning, it involves analysis, everything. Whatever you have done, you simply involve in the coding phase and some portion of testing, and you simply apply big bang model. But it is not, the actual development is not like as we do in academic projects. In actual development, a huge amount of analysis will happen, huge effort is given in the analysis as well as in testing phase, apart from the coding also. Okay, this is all about the software development lifecycle model. Okay, anyone have any query? My suggestion to all of you, please go through the model one by one. Okay, because you will definitely get questions from this, and it will definitely you will face some questions in the interview also based on different models, because the interviewer coming from the software industry, they will want to know whether you are aware of the actual development process of the software or not. Definitely you will get some questions from this particular course. So you go through each and every model, everyone, apart from the assigned model for presentation. And if you found any confusion, in the next class I will discuss it again. And if no, then I will start a new topic called project management or software management and software quality. So in the next class I will start a new topic, but before that, anyone have any query in the software development lifecycle model? I will discuss it. Okay, is it okay to everyone? The meeting is going to end.
Yes,
Response
sir.
quickly.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, I have a question.
কোনে কৈছা?
Nikhil.
Okay, Nikhil, কোৱা সোনকালে কোৱা, মিটিং শেষ হ'ব এতিয়া।
Sir, spiral model is combination of both waterfall and prototype. Sir, how?
not exactly a combination. We cannot say it is a combination of these two models.